Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for watching. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about digital art and collecting digital art, which you may do for fun or for profit. And what you're seeing is the results of an NFT collection called Progenoforms. So that is an algorithm or a little computer program that's created to make these sort of visual animations and the final images. And the interesting thing about it is that all of these pieces, even though they are quite varied, are created with the same little piece of code. So creating these systems where each piece is given random initial inputs, which could affect the color scheme, the size, the movement and duration, things like that, that's become a modern day art form, much like sculpting or painting has always been and still is. But of course I would say that programmers are the new artists, being a programmer myself. So that's not really an unbiased view, but in all seriousness, computers have offered artists new opportunities which weren't available before, such as movement. So a sculpture or a painting on a canvas is a static object, but digital objects can have movement in them as well as sometimes interactivity. So even a video game can be thought of as an example of modern art. In the showcase section, there are some examples of some of the random outputs that can be produced. So if you were to purchase some of these items, each one would be different, and you can click on them to see how that was created. And on the right are the traits that with the initial values I spoke of, which give it its unique characteristics, and you can change the values and see how it changes the output. So you can play around and get an output that you like, and they'll all be different and somewhat surprising. There are different color schemes, so you can see how it looks in different colors, and there will be new colors introduced at least every month to keep things fresh. So there's always a way of kind of dressing up your digital art each month or whenever you feel like it, which is again something that you couldn't do with traditional art. But collecting art has been popular for centuries, and it's always been a way of displaying class and taste and culture. But only in the last 50 years, since the 1980s, has it been a recognized asset class that even funds invest in. So research shows that digital art and NFTs is growing at approximately 16% per annum. Now, that doesn't mean that everything goes up by that amount, but it is encouraging to know that the market is growing, and in the NFT space, there have been some mouthwatering examples of people who have done exceptionally well by identifying things early. As with any art collection, if you're doing it as an investment, the kind of trick is to identify artists early in their career who then go on to become famous or sought after. And when people ask, but what can I do with the art apart from just own it or look at it? Well, one thing that we've created with this collection is an initiative called Thought Forms, and that's just taking your design and adding a short message, which you can do yourself, or you can get the AI to help you write it by telling it who you're sending it to and if there's an occasion or a reason and the style that you want the message to be. And then you can send that straight to somebody's Twitter account or to their email address. And they don't need a crypto wallet or anything like that to receive it. They'll just get a tweet or an email that shows them the message that you've written and the design and explains a little bit about what it is. And the fact that it's on the blockchain means that there is some sort of concrete permanent record to this, rather than other types of cards which people get and get thrown away or thrown in a drawer, or if they're a digital card, they just kind of get forgotten or deleted. So it's just another way of gesturing to people who are important to you that you're recognizing them, and it's been shown to be such a positive thing for the giver and the receiver. And they can then re-gift it. They can send it maybe back to you or to anybody else by changing the message and sending it on. So it'll be interesting to see how far these tokens travel over their time and how many people they sort of touch along the way. So I know some of you know me personally, but if you don't, please feel free to contact us through the website. And if you want any help getting set up, or if you have questions about becoming involved in the project, we'd love to have you on board. And thank you very much for listening so far. Thanks.